Welcome back here to Dunlap. Halftime here. Eagles lead at 28-14. Having plenty of fun here on Clutch Sports Media. And Teddy, again, let's take a look at Pekin's head coach. You see him there, Doug Nutter. He is a seasoned vet, just like Brett Castle we talked about. But again, Nutter's path, pretty interesting. Pekin's head coach is a Limestone grad just across the Illinois River over in Bartonville. Played at Upper Iowa University. And funny enough, Teddy, here's a fun fact for you. When Doug Nutter came back from college and started coaching, he was an assistant at Limestone under head coach Lauren Peacock was his name. Upper Iowa University's nickname for their sports teams are the Peacocks.
There you go. Writes itself, doesn't it? One thing you got to say about Doug Nutter, although he has kept a similar philosophy coaching-wise most of his career with run heavy and, defense, he's definitely evolved in slight ways that have made this Pekin program what it is today. And, this year, a couple years ago, opened up a lot more in the pass game. But, yeah, Coach Nutter, a staple over there in Pekin, Illinois.
Certainly synonymous with football over there in Dragon Country. I'll be wondering, 6 years at River Valley, where's that? What team is that? Well, funny enough, if for those of you that maybe have a strong memory or maybe are football historians around here, they were a program somewhat locally here in Peoria. It was a co-op between Varna Midland, Low Point Washburn, and Henry Sinakawine, three very small schools up near kind of the Marshall County area. And they had a team together for several years. Doug Nutter was, I believe, their first and may have been only their head coach in that program's history. So again, he was been all over the place. He's seen it all. He's gone from the small cornfields, three schools co-oping just to have a team together to one of the largest schools in the entire area in Pekin.
Yeah, it's got to be a big flip, and we kind of talked about that with Cazalet as well, just the difference of going from DMAC to where he is today. So both of these coaches have kind of experienced different sides of the football, atmosphere.
And, it's funny, we were talking with Brett Cazalet, and he said that, there's some NFL players that, he coached and, played against down there in North Carolina, the school he was at, and two of those players, two wide receivers back from my childhood days. Mohamed Massaquoi went to Georgia, then went to the Cleveland Browns, and then Hakeem Nicks, receiver on the New York Giants, and played for some other teams as well. So, and again, talk about guys that could play on Sunday. Brett Cazalet has another one potentially in Max Sutter.
Definitely. Max Sutter is definitely a guy that can make it to the league, but, guys like that, like Massaquoi, that's one of my favorite, grid pools on
Immaculate
cool
grid.
Yes, so, maybe one day Max Sutter will be able to use on those too in the NFL.
Again, Sutter's father, Eddie, played in the NFL for a few years as a linebacker, played for the Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns, and a few other teams as well. Sutter's part of a very athletic family. Both of his sisters college athletes. His younger brother also headed to play college ball likely one day. We'll see where he goes. But also his cousins, too, the Mangiris, tight ends at Northwestern and Indiana. And also another cousin, Luke Mangieri, that played baseball at Bradley, was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates a few years ago. So just very athletic genes for that entire family. Again, Sutter's got a first-half touchdown catch. And Dunlap will kick it away to lead off the second half. Now, kick is fielded at the 20. Here by Chase Kruger. And he's going to get pile driven back. Short return there for the Dragons.
Kruger cut from his block a little bit there. I thought he was going to keep going on to the inside. He must have saw something I didn't. Went to the right side and got stopped right at the 30.
So this is a very big drive for Pekin, Teddy. We were talking about it during the break. Not necessarily a must-score drive, but in some senses, it is a must-score drive for them here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, you can continue on the game without scoring right here and still have a chance, but for the most part, it's a great way to build your confidence and your momentum here for this second half, which is much needed if you want to kind of storm back into this game, because they're going to need quite a bit of firepower.
And they have played from behind a bit this year. They've been in some tough battles as well. That one-score game in Week 3. They also beat Morton by one score, 21-13 back in Week 5. That was a big win that, in hindsight, might have been the difference between them making and missing the playoffs. That's the thing in the Mid-Illini. You need to be one of the perennially, historically good teams like Morton, Pekin, Dunlap, Washington, Metamora to make the playoffs.
And that's a story you see all the time. Team that is on the verge. I think, last year, one of the teams we talked about a lot was East Peoria, and that's kind of something that they struggled with, too, was getting over the hump of that maybe upper echelon of teams in the Mid-Illini, and Pekin was able to get it done to get here today.
Nice pass breakup there from the Dunlap secondary. Looked like in coverage, that was John Feldman, 5'6", senior defensive back, and the first time we've called his name tonight. He's one of their leading tacklers with 57.5 on the season.
As for that play for Pekin, same kind of general philosophy going for Korma there. I'd love to see Benassi, if they keep passing the ball, try to look for other things because they're heavily guarding Korma. Dunlap's doing a phenomenal job at layering over top of him, blanketing it up here in this second half.
And Korma's at the bottom of the screen now, being guarded by Caden Wooden, Dunlap's leader defensively in forced fumbles and interceptions. Benassi rolling out the other direction, looking to throw. He was aiming for Keyshawn Walker, and it's incomplete. It's going to be a 4th and long. And Teddy, I think this has got to be a must-punt situation.
Definitely is. We saw we saw Doug Nutter go for a long 4th down conversion earlier on in the game, but I think this one is just a little bit past that for sure, even for Doug Nutter.
And it is going to would be a big risk if they did not get it with the ball on their own 31. So a very quick 3 and out. Only 47 seconds come off the clock on that first drive for Pekin. Now the punt is away from Bray Korma. It's a short one. Just barely reaches midfield. And another good field position here for Dunlap as they take over. And Teddy, talk about their running back duo, Schmick and Dietz. Schmick came into tonight 810 yards, 16 touchdowns. Dietz at 895 yards and 13 touchdowns. He actually had less carries just slightly than Schmick. Only had 6 less than him this season, so it's been about a 50-50 kind of split backfield for the Eagles this year.
And that helps you out so much, too, because we've seen a lot with the split backfield formations they've been running so far today. When you're a defense, you don't know who you're going to have to guard. And when you have 2 running backs that are so efficient, like Dietz and Schmick, we see it here.
Schmick still going across the 45 before he's wrestled down there by 26. That's Carson Eldridge, linebacker for Pekin. Teddy, talk about split backfields. If you're a fantasy football manager, depending on what team it is, sometimes split backfields, you don't like running backs in there. But if you were to play, if there were such a thing as high school fantasy football, you could certainly own Jaden Schmick and Blake Dietz and be pretty well off most any week.
Oh, 100%.
So here's a 2nd and 5 from the Pekin 44. Only one wide out. That's Sutter at the bottom. Handoff going to number 20. That's Joey Joseph, the sophomore, first carry of the game. Gets closer to first down yardage, but not quite there.
Down to the 41-yard line.
Mentioned it quite a bit earlier, talking about the gravity that Sutter, carries with him in this game, and just from him going far, and he takes 2 defenders away from the play that could have potentially came down to get a stop there. And now we got a pretty short 3rd and manageable here for the Eagles.
At 3rd and 2, and the way they've been running tonight, I'd be surprised if they went through the air here. And some extra blocking help in there for the Eagles. Got an H-back in there. It's going to be a direct snap to Tyra. Got a nice push and got the first down.
That's enough for an Eagle first.
So Tyra picks it up with his legs. Him and Benassi have carried it plenty tonight. And again, this Dunlap offensive line, Teddy, is doing a nice job of protecting Tyra, but also not allowing Dunlap to go backwards when they run the football.
Yeah, we talked earlier about, the Pekin offensive line, how big they are. But honestly, I think if you were to look at the 2 units, the Dunlap Eagles has definitely outperformed them so far today in terms of protecting their quarterback and opening up gaps for the running backs to get just a couple yards each here and there.
Might have been some slight movement. We play on. Here's Tyra rolling out. Going to keep it again. Out past the hashes, and it's got a first down. Inside the red zone is Truman Tyra. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Dunlap staying on the ground. And this is where Pekin's defense, again, is more the pressure just mounts and mounts and mounts with each play.
Absolutely. Obviously, Tyra had a great run there. One of the things I want to point out, I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure it was number 18 on the outside, Bo Sutter. Great block in order to cause another 10 yards for Tyra to just get right there in the red zone. Got to credit the blockers as well in that play.
That's why they pay you the big bucks, Teddy. Again, I'm busy watching the ball carrier. You're watching the blocks, and definitely and runs like that wouldn't be possible without those big ones as we get a whistle on the near sideline. Referees seem to be discussing something. And we will get a call here as he strolls towards the Dunlap sideline. And no score from either side here in the second half as referee talking to Brett Caslick, pointing towards the video board. I'm not sure, maybe an issue with that potentially. I don't know.
Could the clock be?
Could be a clock issue. Could be something. And I'm not sure if our referees are mic'd up tonight. Again, see that in NFL and college, maybe not quite so much in high school as he motions up here to the booth. But again, it'll be 1st and 10 for Dunlap at the 17.
They adjust the clock to 8:57. So
it was at 8:45, I believe, after that last play. So added 12 seconds back. Here's a run. Jaden Schmick, I believe, inside the 5. That was rather Blake Dietz.
They get the
Yin and
tackle to
yang.
stop the touchdown, but still, regardless, sets up 1st and goal. Now you got 4 opportunities to get back in there. Just continuing this elite running game that the Eagles have been so good at today. The Dragons continue to just not have an answer for anything.
Running up the middle behind the guards, Kingston Smith on the left side, Colin Bruce on the right side, and Carson Saul, their senior at center. So again, 2 men in the backfield here. It's Dietz on the side closest to us. This is going to be Schmick running across the end zone. Touchdown, Dunlap.
Huge score for the Eagles, going up by 3 touchdowns here and kind of putting the ball in Pekin's court. If they can't answer back now, pretty much shuts out all form of contention. You got still 8:15 left on the clock. But Pekin needs to respond. They need to respond fast.
They certainly do. Again, they needed the opposite to happen in the second half. To, again, get it back within 1 score, but instead of them scoring a touchdown and Dunlap maybe being held for the first time tonight, Eagles march right down and make it a 3-score game as Grant's point after is up and good. Dunlap inching potentially closer to that first playoff win since 2017, but again, 8:15 to go, Teddy. Again, there's still plenty of time, I think. But again, you just can't keep up what you've been doing on defense for the Dragons. Gotta start getting some stops because, again, you can score 3 touchdowns if we were 8:15 left in the fourth quarter. It all just matters to getting off the field and especially get off the field quick.
Yeah, and being able to execute when you need to. And they've had glimpses where they get, like early on, they were stopping the run on the inside. Now they haven't been able to do that, and they haven't been able to string together consistent defensive efforts. And, you know, the offense has done their thing so far, but at the same time, the last couple drives haven't really panned out the way they want. So offense is going to have to continue what they were doing in that first half, and defense has got to go with a different approach and really start stringing stuff together.
Yeah, there's see some kids running along the track there. Everyone having fun here at Dunlap. Some of the ball boys hanging out on the sideline. I'm sure you're going to remember this. You know, I mean, everyone remembers, you know, playoff football games, especially against your rival. I mean, either way, this is, you know, one that, you know, a lot of people are going to remember, either some for good reasons, some maybe for some heartbreaking reasons, but we're in win or go home territory now for the rest of the way out this football season. Grant gets ready to swing the leg through. And again, right out there on that near side 20, here's Chase Kruger cutting it to the left side. Kruger's got some blocks. Best return of the night so far, and he's still chugging across the 45.
Now that's an opening I thought I saw in the last kick return. Kruger, instead of going to the left on his block, switched to the right side, and that time going right through the gap. Pretty good return.
And Teddy, let's take a look at the Cardiac Eagles. Again, they've played plenty of close games this year. Not so far tonight, but again, 4 games decided by 1 score this season. Unbelievably battle-tested. And again, 1 point was their margin of their last win against Pekin for the 15th time tonight, but also their game last year against Pekin in 2024 in Week 3 also decided by 1 point. And again, they had a 1-point loss in the first round of the playoffs last year to Oaklawn and Richards. So again, they have been just right there in every single game, seemingly, for the past few years.
Yeah, and those games prep you so much for this. And we talked about how Pekin had to win to get into the playoffs, but stuff like that, being able to battle against good teams and either come out on top or when you lose, you learn from it regardless, and they've applied that here tonight, and it's a completely different ball game than it was in that 1-score game back in Week 3.
And if Dunlap would have beat Oaklawn Richards, they would have faced Washington in the second round in Class 6A last year. Here's Benassi, a quick pass to the outside, caught by Korma. Nice little pitch and catch, and Teddy, you know, I don't mind that play call at all. I think should see more of that if you're the Dragons.
Absolutely, get the ball out quick. The longer you hold on, the more pressure you're going to get from that Dunlap front 4. But like I said, I mean, goes back to Bray Korma there. It was open, but I'd love to see something going on the left side of the field if we could.
Benassi got a hoodie on tonight. Again, it's cold out there. Got the hand warmer back on there too. 3rd and 6. Eagles show pressure. Now Benassi going to call an audible. 5 wideouts here, sends Kruger out into the near slot. Benassi needs good protection here. And it's collapsing. Needs to get rid of it. Ball is out. Might have been recovered by Dunlap. Benassi was in loads of trouble. And we'll see who this is on. And there's a flag that flies in late. Not going to change the outcome of who has the ball. It was a dead ball penalty. But it remains Pekin ball, Teddy. They're underneath the scrum. The Dragons still hung on to it.
That's really lucky for the Dragons. And Bergen Benassi, I know he feels like he has the legs to get out of there, and he does, but you got to be careful and hold on to the ball. He's holding on with one hand. He gets popped, and boom, flies up. That could be a completely different situation with the Eagles having the ball right at the 50-yard line.
So we'll see what this flag is. If it's on Dunlap, it's another big swing in Pekin's favor. As we get the call here, it's a personal foul on the Dragons. So they will move back. And again, Teddy, that was 3rd down. So this is going to be 4th down. They're going to have to give the ball away regardless.
Yeah, bringing on the punt unit looks like, and definitely big time. Honestly, lucky you didn't fumble the ball, but still, either outcome would have been not ideal.
And you just can't have that personal foul if you're Pekin. Again, 4th and 7, you know, down by 21. You know, maybe you might need to go for it. 4th and 22. I don't know if you'd go for that hardly ever. So it'll be Korma again to punt it away. Return man calls for the fair catch at the 44. That's Jacob Gleason.
Looks like we got another flag down on the field.
That's a 21-yard punt. So back-to-back flags. And if you're Pekin again, you cannot just afford to have this be on you and unravel even further. I don't know if it is on Pekin, though. Dunlap may potentially decline it, keep the good field position. It's going to hold on Dunlap. So I think they'll redo this down. I believe it'll be 4th and 12. Rather, no, they're going to move Dunlap 10 yards back from where they were. So they'll be at about the 35-yard line or so.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Pekin dating back to that fumble, though. I mean, you got to think you got really lucky there in order to recover the ball. That personal penalty is just not what you need in that moment. And now Dunlap has a chance. 7 minutes left here in the third. They could really run down this clock to under 4 and making things a lot harder on Pekin time-wise.
And Tyra's arm might not see much work on this drive. His legs maybe a bit more so. And Sutter's lined up out wide. And he's also a strong blocker as well. He's going to need to be next year as a tight end at Alabama. Here's a handoff to Dietz. Off to the right side. Nothing doing there, and a nice job by the Pekin defensive front. Chase Kruger, one of the first guys there.
Kruger there in the stop.
The Dragons definitely have done a good job, for the most part, of containing on the outside, but it's just the Eagles have been able to eat on those halfback dives, the quarterback scrambles going through the middle, and that's really where they've gotten a chunk of their yardage so far today.
Sets up a 2nd and 8. That's a nice start to this drive defensively for Pekin. Need to keep Dunlap behind schedule here in down and distance. Another split backfield. Tyra, the handoff goes to Schmick. Got the red gloves on tonight. Easy to identify and gets out to about the 40. So it sets up a 3rd and 4. This is going to be a very interesting down, Teddy. I mean, 3rd and 4 midway through the third quarter may not seem like it's going to be a big play, but this one could potentially be a one that the game might hinge on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think earlier in the first half, Pekin, if they would have shown really committing to the run defense, Dunlap would have been able to throw the ball, but I feel like if you're Dunlap, got to keep running the ball, get that clock down. Loading the box here. This is a big play for Pekin if they can get a stop.
Pekin's got they're 4 linemen, Wheeler, Nolenberg, Knock, and House. As Dunlap will call a timeout here, so they got 2 left here in this second half. And tell you real quick again, let's take a look at how close these schools are. Just don't see it that often in the playoffs. 26 miles between these 2 high schools if you're driving, not necessarily in a straight line. But funny enough, Teddy, it's not even the closest matchup. Actually, there's 4 more that are even closer in this Class 6A first round. How about Burbank, St. Lawrence, and Oak Lawn? They are only 2.6 miles away. Chicago Good and Chicago Simeon, that's who Normal West would play if they won. Only 4.5 miles away. Chicago Kennedy and Fenwick also pretty close, as well as Lake Zurich and Fox Lake Grant. Both of those matchups in the northern bracket of Class 6A.
Stuff like that reminds me, there's a college football game in a couple weeks of 2, I think it's D2 schools, and they're separated by a highway.
I saw
and they
that.
Cross across the street, literally by just walking across. So kind of something of that nature here in the first round.
Could you imagine? I mean, that would be...
Maybe not walking 26 miles.
Yeah,
but
not necessarily. Maybe if Peoria, Notre Dame, and Richwoods were to face off, there's major movement on both sides. And Pekin seems to think that this is going to be on the Eagles.
Start against the Eagles.
Looks like one of their big guys up front might have been Nathaniel Pomeroy, number 73, I believe. Might have been the one to jump offside.
Now we're seeing a different scheme and formation come in here for the Eagles. Probably going to be a pass with 3rd and long.
Yeah, 3rd and 4 now becomes 3rd and 9. Pekin making some substitutions as well. Anthony Hornbuckle comes off the field, and I'll replace him with another DB.
Pekin going cover 3 on this one.
Tyra, all day to throw. Pump fakes. Still got time. Now he's being chased. Running out of room. Thrown out of bounds by Donovan Knock. Dunlap wants a flag and won't get it. It'll be 4th down and a big stop for the Dragons.
Tyra, the keeper.
I think the wrap up and spin might have been a little bit what they were looking for, but overall the actual hit came before he stepped out of bounds. Not a late hit, not excessive, but Dunlap definitely not happy with it.
As long as you're inbounds, you got to get him out somehow. Obviously, you can't necessarily throw him down forcefully once you do get him out.
Could have got him out a little bit safer than that, but
again, Knock trying to give his team a spark, which Pekin needs right now with 5:19 to go in the third. So, again, big 3 and out there for the Dragons. And they will return this punt here, man, back at the 24 or so. Max Sutter, the punter for Dunlap, and this is taking a big Dunlap bounce. Going to be returned by Benassi. He's getting wrapped up. Special teams play for Dunlap. Caden Wooden making a big tackle.
What a crazy punt by Sutter as well. I mean, obviously not going to the next level to be that, but with a kick like that, I remember earlier you talked about you know, Coach told us about how his averages so far this season were like 41 yards per punt, and that only added to it. So,
yeah, special teams has been a real strong suit for Dunlap this year. In past years, not quite so much the case, but again, they found an answer in their kicker, Landon Grant. They also have a soccer player that, if they needed to, they could call on to kick, Holden Lee, formerly on Dunlap's soccer team, now a running back for Dunlap, just plays football now. And again, they got Max Sutter, again, who's a pretty strong punter as well, and now down to the 10-yard line. Here's the Dragons. Benassi looking to throw, going to the outside. Korma couldn't quite get it.
Hit the ground right before it got to Korma. He tried for it, but not able to get there. John, on the other side of things, I want to bring up, though, back to the special teams part, how many times have you seen a quarterback returning a punt? That's something pretty unique. I mean, we talked earlier about how he's playing safety, but they really use Benassi on all three fronts of the game.
Well, unless you've just tuned in, you have seen Benassi's legs tonight, so he can certainly run the football and also return it as well. You'll see him carry it here, and he falls and gets stumbled across the 11. Looked like that could have been a big gain.
And they're going to need one here. Third and 9 about.
They definitely do, and again, if they need to get a first down, try and play some field position here. Massey looking to throw, going to the outside, got Korma at the 20. Is it enough for the first down? It looks like it will be just short from our angle. No, it's a first down.
That was really close. Again, I mean, it's working for them. It hasn't worked in the last couple of drives, but they keep going back to Korma, and he's played great so far tonight. But I mean, I feel like Dunlap is all over it. There's no chance for return after, yards after catch there.
Yeah, Korma, took the words out of my mouth. He's been catching a lot of passes, but not much afterwards. Here's a end around to Noah Perfetti and gets brought down. Nice play there by the Dunlap defense. And number 2, Sam Hjort, making the tackle there.
Noah Perfetti, a two-sport athlete for Pekin, runs track as well. Just not able to have the speed on that one to get too far on the outside.
So 2nd and 9. Yes, Pekin really needs to find something here on this drive and maybe score by the end of the quarter. Keep this door open. To score in general on this drive is going to be big. Another man in motion. Another pass to the outside. Was that dropped? I couldn't quite tell.
Was dropped. He jumped on it. Similar situation to the last set of downs, John. 3rd and 9.
Benassi was looking for Keyshawn Walker there, and at that point it comes down to execution. At that point, you just got to bring it in that situation, so it sets up a 3rd and 9. Dunlap fans getting loud. 4 wide receivers for Benassi. Looking Korma's direction again. What a catch! Oh, in and out of his hands. Korma adjusted his body and nearly brought it in. He fell down hard and is still shaken up. It's going to be a 4th down, and we're going to get a timeout. Korma still down on the field.
Landed on his back. Not too sure. I just have the wind knocked out of him. Hope everything's okay. A crucial player for Pekin in this game.
And we'll take a quick break as they tend to Korma. We'll be right back after this on CIProud.com.
St. Francis Woods offers affordable living for seniors in a caring environment. Located on 6 wooded acres in a private, secure neighborhood, we're always here 24/7. Be part of a community. Join us at St. Francis Woods Supportive Living in Peoria.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates. Get a deeper look at the why of weather with Shooting the Breeze. Every week, your local weather authority team will break down the science behind the storms. It's a breezy conversation that's serious about weather. Streaming exclusively on W.
At Windshield Specialists, we don't rely on a catchy jingle to win your business. Instead, we let our honest quotes, friendly service, and excellent workmanship do the talking. Call Windshield Specialists for all your auto glass needs. Chip or crack, we've got your back.
Welcome back to Dunlap. Bray Korma, thankfully up on his feet, able to walk off on his own power. So good news there for Pekin. The bad news, they got a punt. 4th and 9 here deep in their own territory. No fake here. Another high arcing punt, not going super far. brought in on the bounce by Dunlap. Looked like that was Stefan, the brave man who picked it up at the 36-yard line. Thought they were going to let that one go.
Trying to point out who the punter was there for Pekin. It would have been a backup punter with
Corma on the bench, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was number 39, Lincoln Hawkins, but I'm not too brother of Heath Hawkins.
Yes.
That's what I was really looking for.
Pole vault extraordinaire over there at Pekin.
Now over at Illinois State University.
How about it? And alongside Bo Benassi, former Pekin Dragon football player. So great field position here for Dunlap. Joey Joseph with the handoff and got pursued and brought down from behind by Carson Eldridge.
Joseph, the ball carrier, one of the play.
And if Dunlap is able just to kind of keep holding on this lead, Teddy, again, get late in the season, Dunlap not super banged up. Obviously, a few guys are not playing here tonight, but their main guys are still there. And I think, again, we haven't quite reached, pull the starters territory, but would be big if they could maybe get some of their other guys in later and keep these guys fresh if they are able to move on to round 2. And here's a 2nd and 9. And another movement on that O-line. That might have been Sutter.
Flag on the play.
And it's a false start on the Eagles.
False starts call against the Eagles.
This is back-to-back drives now for the Eagles with penalties to set them back with pretty decent position. So
brings up 2nd and 14.
The Dragons, they need to get a stop on this drive because as much as, 3 scores isn't out of the realm of possibility, if they added another, 4 scores would be pretty much improbable.
Certainly, at least given the time situation. It's 2:15 to go in the 3rd. Biggest thing I think Pekin needs right now is just a turnover. You try and punch the ball out because even if Dunlap wasn't able to move the ball anymore, they punted from the 40. They could very well pin Pekin very deep with the nice leg that Max Sutter has as well. So put a long field in front of Benassi and company, who again have been trying to find a spark since their first or second quarter touchdown. 18-yard rush from Benassi. Their other touchdown was a 7-yard catch from Bray Corma in traffic. Here's Joseph again, going to the right side. Look at Joey Joseph! He gets tripped up just inside the 20, but boy, it looks like he was ready for 6.
That's kind of the first big pop we've seen from Dunlap in a while. They've been kind of just going to the bread and butter, getting a couple here, a couple there, but here in this second half, just back to what they were doing earlier, big-time run. Travion House there for the Dragons almost got back there for a tackle for loss in the back of the backfield, but wasn't able to get there in time. It cost a big play for the Dragons.
And Dunlap are going to be in no hurry. Clock is running now from the 15. Lots of ball carriers have found some good yards for Dunlap tonight. Looks like this is Schmick again. Still up on his feet, running over the Dragons. Wearing them down inside the 5, still going. Right on the 1-inch line. Schmick nearly got in for another one.
Unbelievable ball carrying ability. I'm not going to lie, I kind of got lost here. I see a pack of Eagles and Dragons bunched together at about 3 yards in. I thought that was where the tackle happened, and then he bounced to the outside. He's able to get a couple more pushing his way through.
Schmick had 3 touchdowns last week. Almost had his 3rd right there. He also had 3 touchdowns last time against Pekin as well. So good things come in 3s for the Dunlap junior running back.
Like we mentioned earlier, dating back to that week 3 matchup on Halloween, that's the scariest thing Pekin probably thought about was Schmick.
High snap, handoff to Schmick. Got what he needed to. There's number 3, and Dunlap leads it now by 27. 4-score game, and they continue to impose their will. Schmick's touchdown runs tonight, 37, 7, and 1 yard out. That one, again, he only needed to essentially fall forward. Didn't know if he might see a tush push or something like that from the Eagles. And they give it to Jaden Schmick, who is now up to 19 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, this Eagles roster definitely doesn't need to do the same tush push formation to get in the end zone.
Grant's point after is good, and again, this is essentially almost week 10 of the season, so you're about averages. Schmick averaging about 2 touchdowns per game. We had that with a a passing attack that's, when they're on, like we said earlier, they are on. So Dunlap is, again, showing why they're a complete team, Teddy. Again, their defense, one of the best they've had in some years, and their offense has found a lot of playmakers.
When you look at the rest of the Mid-Illini, there have been some great teams. You look at Washington, for example. They are so good at what they do in terms of running the ball. And they can do some other stuff too, but primarily year in and year out, that's what they do. Dunlap, every single year we've covered them, this is kind of what they do. They spread the ball around so much that you don't know what their game plan is that day. So far, they've had really good success running the ball, but they can get it done in the air as well.
They certainly do, and it makes them all that much more dangerous as they look to go deeper in the playoffs. Again, looking for their first playoff win since 2017. Trying to do the math, Max Sutter would have only been about 10 or so years old, around there. Been a long time coming for these Eagles. I also get the added sweetness of, again, as long as they can hold on, and doing so here at home, in front of their student section, which always shows out in great numbers too. Got to give our hats off to the Eagles Nest here at Dunlap. The Fire Pit Nation faces a little bit more forlorn across the way. Ball nearly dropped by Kruger. Trying to go east and west. Still going across the 30. Kruger, another good return out across the 40-yard line in about the same spot where they started the last drive.
Kruger's definitely been a bright spot for them on special teams. He's had 2 pretty good returns on the day.
First down and 10, ball at their 44-yard line.
So Pekin needs to go, and they need to go very fast. Brogan Manassi, again, needs to throw the football like his career, or at least his high school career, depends on it. Manassi, a guy that, the loss of Anderson has, I think, impacted Manassi's numbers a bit. They're not quite, where they were last year. You don't have your top wide out, and Anderson will certainly eat up a lot of yards with his speed. But, I think what I hope college coaches realize is that Manassi's a good quarterback, and hopefully he can find a home somewhere at the next level. As that will do it for the third quarter. Dunlap, late score, puts them up by 28. Pekin hanging on by a thread. We'll be right back for the fourth on CIProud.com.
At Windshield Specialists, we don't rely on a catchy jingle to win your business. Instead, we let our honest quotes, friendly service, and excellent workmanship do the talking. Call Windshield Specialists for all your auto glass needs. Chip or crack, we've got your back.
Sam Lehman & Morton, the #1 Ram truck dealer in Illinois and largest Ram dealer in the Midwest. This month, take $20,000 off a brand new Ram 1500 Laramie when you finance through Stellantis. Or save over $23,000 on a Jeep Wagoneer S. Plus, take $12,000 off a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee L. All this and more during the Drive Into Fall event at Sam Lehman & Morton, where we do the deals no one else will.
Willow Lane Yoga and Wellness is now open at 7800 North Summer, featuring yoga, mat Pilates, reformer Pilates, and our exclusive to the area Fuse ladders. Find out why we're different at willowlaneyoga.com.